Choices is a project we've been working on for the past 4 months. Choices is about looking at people's stories and how they've impacted on their lives, both good and bad.
We have learnt how to use cameras to interview each other and share our own stories. We have also interviewed members of staff, also PCSOs and members of the community. The boys got to visit HMP Wetherby and the girls went to HMP Style, where we interviewed prison officers and prisoners.
We have made this film of all this to share what we have learned, which other young people will hopefully be influenced by and make the right choices.
We hope you enjoy our film and find it inspiring.
When I was 13, I stole a keyring off a bag in Primark. It wasn't planned, I just did it, and we walked out of the shop thinking we got away with it. Suddenly the police came behind us, walked us out of the shopping centre and into a police car. I felt scared, worried of what my mum and dad was going to say. I didn't know what was going on. They took me home and came in the house to talk to my mum and dad. I felt really embarrassed. A week later, I had to go and see someone from the youth offenders team. There were 9 other people like me, and we all had to share what we had done. I felt scared. I'm not very confident. We watched some videos, and it made me think about what I had done. Even though I was scared, this experience, I have done it again. It wasn't good, what I did, but it was my choice. I didn't care what other people thought. This time, I was lucky I didn't get caught.
My name's Maxine Davison and I work for the Youth Justice System in Barnsley at the Attendance Centre.
What does your job involve?
My job involves working with young people. Some of them have already offended, some I work with before they've been to court. I think the type of work we do with them, pointing out different things, career choices.
Well, me and my mates were at school and we were really bored at break, so I thought we'd go roaming round and we went into a closet and we found some money in a memory staff's bag, and then we took that and then we went back to his lessons, and then at the end of the day we went home but we got caught.
When I was 10 years old, I used to live in a town called Mexborough. I lived in a rough area, and everywhere you went there were drugs, or crime, or people robbing and fighting. I followed that road for 2 years. I took loads of drugs. My father left us and my mum was a full-time bed addict. She would take drugs, go to sleep and leave me to look after my brothers. I would have cannabis, methadone, ket, MCAT, amphetamines, crystal meth and alcohol. I didn't do it because I liked it. I did it because I could. No one was there to say no or you're grounded. On the 12th of August, the day that I found out that I could go into foster care, and everything has been going great since. I've been in care now for 3 years, and my mum, she's been off drugs for 3 years, and so have I.
For about 2 years, I started feeling very inadequate and extremely conscious about how people perceived me, and became very much involved with a crowd of people who were very negative. As I got to know this particular group for a while, I got to know a boy who I thought was understanding and nice, and later he became my boyfriend. Eventually he introduced me to cocaine and MCAT and FET. At this point I was never going to school. I was always running away from home, so I thought, why not, I've got nothing to live for.
Police got involved and I got put on a conditional caution, not just for that but some of the wrong choices that I made.
The majority of my work is antisocial behaviour with young people, but then I have a radio on at all times and I get called from the control room as and when jobs come in my area. Individual, how you find them, some you can see are easily led, for example, and they just need perhaps an arm round them or just a bit of help. But then you have others that are just
Determined to be the things.
I would say determined, but that's just what they do, and you can, as much as you want to help them change, you can see you want to. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Dirty. Up north we get dirty too. I wouldn't say murky. Up north I get dirty. Like lunchtime at a nursery. Where you been if you ain't heard me?
I was kind of rebellious, kind of angry at everything, you know, and my biggest outlet for that was drugs, which is a common thing that a lot of young people turn to these days. I used to justify it by all means, you know, I need this, I've been so badly done to, it makes me feel better, etc, etc. But basically what it did was it lowered my motivation to actually succeed, to do anything, it clouded my judgment, and it generally just dug myself deeper into a hole, which ultimately one day led me into prison.
What drugs did you take?
Like I said, I'll be totally honest in this interview. I've taken a lot of different drugs. My biggest problem was cannabis. I was a cocaine addict. Lots of different things, ecstasy, MDMA, generally pretty much the whole roster, what you can think of.
How did you get into prison?
How did I get into prison? Well, I was one day like pretty out of it, pretty high, drinking vodka, and when I said it clouds your judgment, I'm not a very violent person, but it made me violent. I got into a fight in Barnsley town centre with two older people that, you know, I used the excuse for a while that they were being racist and I hate racism, which they were, but it was no excuse for what I did. Obviously I beat these guys up, caused a whole host of damage to the local area and ended up in prison.
Like lunchtime at a nursery. Where you been if you ain't heard me? I'm Eugene Bruce. Old school but your girl never knew. Like I won't take her out and win around without using dope slang. Where have I been? Breaking out of a place so low. Making moves so I'm moving, yo. Doing shows and selling CDs, bro. Hiding away, making money grow. At the top of my game, you can't better my flow. I'm like the tens, making shit wet, so...
When I came out of prison, I was generally still quite angry, thought the world owed me something, which it didn't, because you've only got yourself to rely on, and you know, if you open your eyes up, there's a lot of opportunities out there, but I was clouded by them, and it just led me, I became homeless, struggling for rent, you know, because I was spending all my money on drugs, you know, things like that, and it just led me down a bad path, like I say, but you know, I did change that around eventually.